Hey everyone, what's up? And welcome to another episode of Tuck Notes Beginner Stock Talk. My name's Tuck, and I will be doing the video tonight. And we will be talking about Tesla stock coming up. We'll be talking about why Tesla stock went down today and what to expect moving forward this week. We'll be hearing from Elon Musk and his interview with Time Magazine. About and his views on the current state of taxes, COVID, and some personal questions. And we will later then go into a short-term price prediction for Tesla stock this week. Right now, Tesla's sitting at $966.41. It's down 4.89%, which is about $50.62. We were looking at $1,000 price mark as the gauge of where to keep the stock at, but today we slowly slid down the slide of the red slide, and throughout the entire day, and it was filling up all those gaps between $1,000 and $950. And moving in tomorrow, we should be seeing the gaps between $950 to $900 getting filled up. Now, the overall stock market today was crap. Nvidia was down 6%. Google, Apple, they were down. The healthcare sector did well, and some dividend-paying stocks did well. So that's about that. Moving forward for this week, on Wednesday, we have some important economic data coming out. At 2:30, there'll be a press conference with Chairman Jerome Powell, who is in charge of our wallets, if you're an investor. He has a meeting at 2:30, and so before then, expect the stock market to be extremely volatile. And after that meeting, whatever the conclusion is, expect that stock market to probably be, volatile again. Because the last time they had a meeting like this, meaning Jerome Powell and his cronies or whatever, the stock market went to crap. So don't get too amped up. People are saying, that people are expecting some extreme volatility, like I said, until that. So Elon Musk was just chosen to be Person of the Year by Time Magazine for 2022. That's a big deal, like seriously. And in this interview that we're gonna watch, he was asked some important questions about, his tweets and what's the importance of them. His views on how he potentially affects the stock market and the crypto market, and about how some billionaires are not paying enough taxes, and his views on COVID and some personal stuff. And so before we get into that, if you could subscribe to the channel, if you like these videos and you find they're helpful, I'd love it if you subscribe to the channel and push the like button. It helps with the YouTube algorithm. And so with that, we will jump into the video.
Who do you most admire? I admire anyone who is making a positive contribution to humanity, whether that is in entertainment or in technology, or I think anyone who's sort of doing things that are really useful to the rest of humanity is, I admire them greatly.
Tesla has dragged the legacy automakers into the electric vehicle market.
Yeah.
Do companies like Ford, GM, Rivian, Lucid pose a threat to Tesla's dominance, or do you think you guys have so grasped the market at this point that you are going to own it?
Well, if somebody makes better cars than we do, then and they then sell more cars than we do, I think that's totally fine. Our intent with Tesla was always that we would serve as an example to the car industry, and that and hope that they also make electric cars so that we can accelerate the transition to sustainable energy. I'm confident in the future in Tesla, that it will do well, and I hope some of these other companies do well too.
Are the cars safe? I mean, should I feel comfortable getting behind the wheel of a Tesla and saying, drive me where I need to go?
Well, the statistics that I think are at this point unequivocal, that far more accidents off autopilot than on autopilot. So this is not to say that autopilot is perfect. Now, to get to full self-driving where you don't need to pay attention, we still obviously have a lot of work to do. So as we get to the point where interventions are extremely rare, even in complex traffic situations, and get to the point where the probability of injury with full self-driving is much lower than with a human driving, then obviously at that point it would make sense to allow the car to drive itself and not have to pay attention.
When it's time to pay taxes, new reporting from ProPublica says the nation's top 25 richest people pay little to nothing at all, including Warren Buffett, Jeff Bezos, and Elon Musk.
A lot of the push for higher government involvement and expropriation of assets by the government is really pushed by a bunch of politicians who are actually saying that resources shouldn't be in control of people, of private individuals. They should be in control of the government. They're basically saying they want control of the assets. I mean, I think in terms of things that people should perhaps get upset about is, like, I think getting upset about excess consumption is a thing to get upset about. But if somebody's just wasting money on personal luxuries in a crazy way, I'm not Warren Buffett's biggest fan, frankly, but he sits there and he reads all these annual reports, which are super boring. Does anybody want that job? I think most people do. No, I don't want that job. But like, he's not like engaged in like insane conspicuous consumption. So you have to say, like, okay, sure, he's got a high net worth, but he's doing a useful job for the economy, and he's very skilled in it, and should probably keep doing it.
You are, not to put too fine a point on it, the richest man in the history of the world, and arguably the most influential. And yet you tweet freely and playfully and somewhat mischievously.
Yes, that's accurate.
So our feuds with policymakers are poking Jeff Bezos. Is that good for the overall brand?
Yeah, I don't really think about brand optimization, to be frank, as is obvious from my tweets, which are often self-inflicted wounds, or humor that I find funny, but not necessarily that many other people find funny.
Right. When you say take the red pill, do you worry about sending none too veiled?
I said take both pills.
Take both. Well, that's okay. All right. Well,
yeah.
But do you worry at all about activating, motivating the political fringe?
Yeah, actually, when I said take the red pill, I didn't realize that was some like politically charged phrase.
Right.
I was referring to the Matrix.
Okay. Yeah.
Make sure you accept reality for what it is.
Right.
But then it turns out it's like also like some like accept right-wing dogma thing or something. I didn't realize that at the time.
You do have the ability to move markets with a tweet. Should any one man have that power?
Well, the markets move themselves all the time, and so especially Tesla stock has seen some very big changes in value from one day to the next based on nothing, as far as I can tell. So do statements that I make, are they materially different from random movements of the stock that might happen anyway? I don't think so. It's not like stock drops in half or something like that.
You've made statements downplaying COVID-19. You kept your factories open, running at the height of the pandemic. And
well, actually, technically, I think there's a misunderstanding there on the factories front.
Tell me about
it. Other car factories in the United States had restarted.
Right.
And we were blocked only because our car factories in the Bay Area and California. So California had actually said manufacturing can restart.
Right.
And then Alameda County decided of their own accord that Tesla could not restart.
Are you vaccinated, if I may ask?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very pro-vaccination. I believe the science is unequivocal. I treat it to that effect. But by the same token, I am against forcing people to be vaccinated. I think this is just not something we should do in America. I think we should encourage people to be vaccinated, strongly try to convince them to be vaccinated, but not force them to be vaccinated, or for example, force them to get vaccinated or get fired.
He is known as a big proponent of Dogecoin. and someone who has in the past taken Tesla's assets and invested those into Bitcoin and then sold that Bitcoin at a profit.
Well, I mean, I could really sort of wax on about the nature of money for hours because I played a significant role in creating PayPal. And so my understanding of the money system at a fundamental level of how it actually works, the detailed mechanics of it, is, I think, there are very few people that understand it better than me. Bitcoin is an interesting example, obviously the prime mover on this, but the transaction volume of Bitcoin is low, and the cost per transaction is high. It is, at least at its base level, suitable for maybe an exchange, a store of value. But fundamentally, Bitcoin is not a good substitute for transactional currency.
Right.
And even though it was created as a silly joke, Dogecoin is better suited for transactions.
Why is that?
The total transaction flow that you can do with Dogecoin is substantially more than, like, transactions per day is much higher than, has much higher potential than Bitcoin. It is slightly inflationary, but that inflationary number is a fixed number as opposed to a percentage.
Right.
So that means over time, its percentage inflation actually decreases. And that's actually good because it encourages people to spend and rather than sort of hoard it as a store of value.
I'm going to switch to a personal question a little bit, if you're okay with that.
Yeah, sure.
So what happened with the Grimes, and do you have a new girlfriend?
Oh, man.
Someone new. I know. Here we are with our
Here we go.
different approach.
Grimes and I are, let's say, like, semi-separated, it's just that her work has her just being in different places a lot versus my work. We weren't seeing each other that much. Yeah, we're still good friends, and
That's it. So